welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a little special because I am telling you guys all about my career story and how I came about to be where I am today. And I'm also doing a Q&A that I ask you guys on Instagram. But I get asked so much about my past and like what I used to do for a living, and I just thought it would be nice to kind of sit down and talk to you guys. And I just want to say thank you to the Art Institutes for sponsoring this video. Whenever we were trying to come up with an idea for a collaboration, I was like, oh, I should totally tell my career story and like how I got here, because it does have, there is this story about the Art Institutes in there, and if you keep listening, you will hear it in my story. So if you are interested in learning more, definitely go to theartinstitutes.edu/fashion and you can read more about it. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started with my career story, and I will, because this is probably gonna be a really long video with a lot of different elements, I will timestamp below. So if you are interested in just hearing one thing, or if you wanna skip to the Q&A, check out the timestamp and you can just fast forward. Okay, let's get started. So, if you guys saw my where I grew up video, my hometown video, then you know I grew up in a very small town. After I moved away, I was like, I need to get a job. Do I become a waitress? Do I work at the mall? Like, what do I do? I randomly got invited to this fashion show at the Art Institutes, and I was like, what, a fashion show? I am so cool. Like, I'm going to a fashion show. I took my roommate, we went to this fashion show. We like picked out outfits, this whole thing. It was so cool. They were students at the Art Institutes and they were making clothes and they had models and everything, and I just thought it was the coolest thing. So that's when I was like, kind of got this like eye-opening for fashion, and I totally felt like I didn't belong. I was like, what am I doing here? And it's not just fashion. They have gaming, technology, virtual reality, culinary, film, photography. I have a friend who went to the Art Institutes in San Antonio, and he is now a really successful web developer, and he's super talented and I work with him all the time. But they have locations all over the US. They have online availability as well, so if you aren't anywhere close to one, you can definitely check out your online options too. So the link will be below. So fast forward through college, I moved out of my really small town and I moved to a bigger city, San Antonio, where I was going to school at UTSA. I got a part-time job at Juicy Couture and I got fired. That was actually one of the questions in the Q&A is, did you get fired ever? Yes, I did. Long story short, my boss was like, she was the worst. She was so mean. Everyone was scared of her. I broke my foot and she told me to not come back to work until my foot was healed because it didn't look good, which is probably illegal now that I think about it. I'm like, can she do that? I was like, okay, fine. So I got my cast off and I was like, all right, I'm ready to come back to work. And she was like, you don't work here anymore. We fired you. And I was like, what? Why? You told me to come back when my foot was healed. And she was like, no, we actually needed you and put you on the schedule, but you never showed up. And I was like, because you told me not to come in till my foot was healed. Anyways, so I got fired. She got fired, so they hired me back. I think they felt bad because I was fired for such a stupid reason, so they hired me back like a month later. All is good. Then I discovered my love of anthropology. So I applied for a job at Anthropology, which was, I think, like 3 stores down from Juicy Couture at the mall. I got the job. I was so excited, going to college full-time and then working 4 days a week at Anthropology. Then I get a phone call and it was Juicy Couture. They wanted to hire me back, but for their new location, they wanted me to be a manager for the new location. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Manager, whoa. So I took the job. The store opened, I was still in school at this time, and I loved it. I worked there for like 2 years, and then I got recruited to Michael Kors because the Michael Kors was opening up, and that was really exciting because it was so fancy. So it was my senior year in college, and I was working at Michael Kors, graduated college, went from working part-time at Michael Kors to now full-time because I was out of school and I needed a full-time job. I graduated school to be a physical therapist, but in my heart, deep down, I just knew that I wanted to be in fashion. When you're in college, it's okay, and I get girls all the time messaging me and they're like, help, like I don't know what to do, like I want to do this and I want to do this, and it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to start on a path and then go down another path. You're young, you have years to figure it out. Don't stress over it. My girlfriend and I decided that we would pack up our stuff and we would move to New York City. And 4 months before that, I met Ryan. And I had already planned on moving to New York. I already had an apartment locked in, but I met this guy, Ryan, and I just loved him so much. already I was just like, fell in love with him. He was just like the best thing I'd ever met. I was torn. Do I stay here and pursue with this Ryan guy, or do I move to New York, which is what I've always wanted to do, and see what's out there for me? Ryan made it super easy. He said, we can be together and you can move to New York and we'll do the long distance thing and travel back and forth. So I agreed to that. I literally sold everything that I owned, my couch, my bed, my dresser, all my furniture, most of my clothes, my pots, my pans, literally everything. I did not own one thing except for maybe 3 boxes of clothes. I had a job locked in. I got a job working for Mulberry, which is kind of like Burberry, but it's not. I'm just kidding. I'm just saying that because everybody would always come in asking for a plaid scarf, and we were like, wrong store. Just a manager, just working retail, and that's kind of when I discovered that I really loved visual merchandising, because when you're in New York, you really get to do the whole hands-on, meet the visual merchandising team and really see what they do. And they would come in the mornings and they would, you know, take apart the whole store and then put it back together, and it was so creative, and they were creating window displays, and I was like, I want to do that. So how do I make myself stand out from everybody else who wants to do this? I offered my time for free. I would have a shift from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m., but I offered my time to come and help them at 5 a.m., like 5 to 12. But I wanted them to know who I was, and I wanted them to see my interest and see my passion and my drive and really take me seriously, which worked. So then I started working on the visual merchandising team more at Mulberry, which was awesome because that's exactly what I wanted. And it took a while. It took like 6 months for that to happen. You know, it doesn't just happen overnight. If you want to make a name for yourself and you want to impress the people above you and let them know that you're serious, it does take a while. After doing the long distance thing with Ryan while I lived in New York, I missed him. I missed him so much. So we had this plan that we were going to move to New York together. But Ryan needed to do a couple of things. He needed to figure out a few things. So I decided I would come back to Texas and we would be together in Texas until he and I could save up enough money to move to New York and get an apartment together. I didn't have a job. I moved back to Texas with my 3 boxes of clothes, sold everything in New York, and I didn't have a job, and I didn't know what to do because I had rent, we needed an apartment. I was so excited. There was a job opening at Saks, and I was like, I'll just go back to doing retail. I'll get back into visual merchandising, but I need to get a job first. I applied at Saks and I didn't get the job. And I think I sat on the bathroom floor and cried for like an hour. I was so upset. I probably applied for like 6 different jobs and I didn't get any of them. And then I found out that Neiman Marcus was hiring for their visual merchandising team. And I was like, oh my God, this is what I've wanted. This is what I've been waiting for. Visual merchandising position in Texas. I have to apply and I have to get the job. I applied. No one ever got back to me. So I just drove to human resources for Neiman Marcus and went and personally handed them my resume. And I said, who can I give this to make sure that someone reads it and then I get an interview? And they were like, well, pass it on. So I interviewed with the woman. I really liked her. She really liked me. We had great vibes, but I had been beaten down so many times before because I just applied for 7 jobs and didn't get any of them. So like, what do I know? I waited for a call back, nothing. And I was like, what? So then I drove back to human resources. I was like, hi, I just wanted to, I'm so annoying, but it worked. I was like, hey, I applied for this job and I haven't heard anything back. What's going on? So the woman actually called me back to her office and I was like, oh, here's my chance. I'm gonna get it. She said, we've tried reaching you multiple times to offer you the job. We left you voicemail. And I was like, no, what do you mean? I haven't gotten any calls, nothing. And she was like, well, we've called. I looked at my resume. One of my numbers in my phone number was written down wrong. It wasn't written down wrong, but it read wrong. My crappy handwriting cost me the job. And she was like, well, we gave the job to somebody else. We couldn't get a hold of you. Perfect. Then I still don't have a job. And so then I start looking for boutiques around San Antonio. Finally found one. And I interviewed. The woman who owned it was so nice. We had a great connection. I just knew I got the job. and she called me and I got the job. I was so excited. It didn't pay as much, obviously, as I was getting paid in New York, but I was really excited to just have a job at a boutique. Being around clothes, and the clothes were great. She carried ALC, Elizabeth and James, so I was set. I was like, oh my gosh, I get to learn about all these new designers that I'd never heard of. And working for her was really great because it was a more personal experience. I got to do a little bit of the visual merchandising. I got to do a little bit of the event planning when we had events and help do flowers, even though I was terrible at flowers. If she's watching this, she's probably laughing because I was terrible. I don't know, I just got to do so many great things because I got to dip my toes in a little bit of everything. I got to watch the buying process. I got to do backroom stuff. So it was cool. It was a great experience. While I was working at this boutique, I needed to save up money because Ryan and I were gonna move back to New York, right? So I started doing personal styling on the side where I would style editorial shoots. I would get in touch with all the photographers in San Antonio, email them personally, show them my work, and they would hire me to style their photo shoots. So then I ended up building a good relationship with HR at Macy's, Dillard's, Nordstrom, Neiman's, so I could pull clothes and style these photo shoots and then return the clothes. That was a lot of work, and it really didn't pay a ton, but at least it was something, and I thought it was a pretty cool gig. I had a really good time doing it. I was working at the boutique, and while I was styling photo shoots, I also was like, I need to get my name out there as a stylist. So I contacted all of these TV stations, and I was like, hey, if you have time in some of your morning shows, I would love to come on and do a fashion segment. And I got turned down by all of these TV stations, and then one morning show emailed me back, and they agreed to let me do one and see how it went. So I put out an ad on Craigslist, like, I need models. I went and pulled from my stores, and I basically did like a how to style on TV with other models. If I can find clips of it, I'll show you. I'll play it on the screen. But so yeah, I did the morning show thing like once a week. I did it for free, and it was a lot of work as well, but it got my name out there, and I started getting more photo shoots to style, and even people like women who wanted me to come help them with their closets and take them shopping and help them find new wardrobes. So I was saving up a little bit more money. We finally saved up enough money to move. We were in San Antonio for, I want to say like 2 years before we finally moved back to New York. We up our U-Haul with what we could fit, and we drove from Texas to New York City. At that point, I didn't have a job locked in, but I had really good suspects. What is it? Prospects. So I didn't have time to do the whole like fill out a resume, submit it, go through all the rounds of calls. So I got on LinkedIn and I just sent direct messages to the head of HR to all of these different companies that I wanted to work for. And I am not kidding you, emailed like 70 people. I emailed like literally the head of HR telling them why I would be a perfect fit for their company and blah, blah, blah. I didn't have time to do the whole interview process. I needed to just skip to the end. It was between Michael Kors and it was between Intermix. When I moved to New York, I was still deciding. But I actually, I went and visited each store and each location, and I ended up landing on Intermix, and it was a great decision. Their clientele was so cool. I worked at a location in Soho, and we would always have celebrities come in and models, and I got to help Chrissy Teigen, Jessica Simpson, who else? Bethany Frankel, who I love. And it was just a cool experience. I got to meet people that I never thought I would meet and do things, and I met so many cool people while working there. I made so many good friends while I was working there. And then I transferred from the Intermix in Soho to the Intermix at Columbus Circle, which is a smaller, more neighborhood store. Because as much as I like the fast pace of the Soho location, I love people and I love talking to people and I love making relationships with people. So I went to the Columbus Circle location, which is more family friendly, it's more neighborhood, people come in with their kids, which is a much better fit for me, I think. I was the visual merchandising manager for the Columbus store, and it was fun. And that is actually when my YouTube channel was born. I don't know what gave me the drive to actually sit down and start a YouTube channel. I didn't sit down starting a YouTube channel saying, oh, maybe this can be my job one day, or maybe, you know, I can make a living doing this, or hundreds of thousands of people are gonna subscribe to me one day. I sat down and I made a video thinking maybe 3 people would see it, I don't know. I got 0 support from all of my coworkers. They thought I was so stupid for starting a YouTube channel. I remember one girl was like, no one watches YouTube, like, you're stupid. And I was like, thanks, cool. And actually, right there in that moment, I almost stopped because I was like, what if she's right? Something just told me I just need to keep going. Continued doing my YouTube channel, and it slowly started to grow. And I was like, okay, I started my YouTube channel. I want to do something else. Like, what else can I do? And that's kind of when Life by Her was created. At the time, it was called Her Life, but someone else actually owned the rights to Her Life and sent us a very sweet message threatening us nicely to change the name. So we changed it to Life by Her. And Life by Her started out as just a lookbook. I wanted to give my subscribers something more than what I could give them on YouTube. It was basically 30 pages with just one outfit on each page, because it was like one outfit for each day of the month. So that's kind of how the magazine now, lookbook then, started out, as just something extra to give to my subscribers. Then I decided I need a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday job, because I need to be able to film on the weekends, because I was starting to get more serious about my YouTube channel. So yeah, then I was thinking, you know, this could actually turn into a full-time job. Like, I love doing this, and I love talking to my subscribers, and I just love this so much. I'm going to make this my full-time job. I don't care how hard I have to work. I don't care what I have to do. So I had got a new job. I ended up getting a job. I was the corporate operations manager for Alice and Olivia. Kind of did the same thing I did the first time. I just went on LinkedIn and I just started direct messaging like the head of HR. I got the job pretty quickly. I think I got it within like 3 weeks of even looking. Kind of just like went bananas from there. That is when I started doing 3 videos a week. Religiously, 3 videos a week. I was waking up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, editing the video from the night before, going to work, coming home, filming, and repeat. And my weekends were just filled with filming. On the weekends, I think Ryan and I filmed probably like a month's worth of YouTube videos because I was working. I just literally could not be filming during the week because I would get home and it was dark, so how am I going to film outside? And in the morning I would have to edit. So it was really stressful, I'm not going to lie. There were 2 or 3 times that I just was like, I'm done. My body physically can't take it. I haven't had a proper night's sleep in over a year, you know, and my channel was growing. It's not that, you know, it wasn't growing. I wasn't getting discouraged in that way, but I was like, I don't know that my body can take this much, like, not sleep and being so stressed out. And it was to the point towards the end before I quit my job that I was trying to deal with my own sponsorships. It was when I was starting to, people were reaching out to do sponsorships, and I got this L'Oreal sponsorship, and I was like running to the bathroom to like talk on the phone and be like, okay, this is what I have to do, da da da. And then I would go and I would do my job, and it just wasn't fair to my job, and it wasn't fair to, you know, my YouTube success or my online success and Life by Her, my girls. So I had to choose, and I didn't just up and quit my job. It was something that Ryan and I sat down and we made sure that we had enough money saved up for rent for a year, bills for a year, and that I was doubling my income at my job. Just in case something happened. I mean, it's always good to just have money saved to be prepared, and it's always better to oversave, to stay at your job and just be stressed out like a little bit longer than you should to have enough money to fall back on. Because it just so happens that I slammed my finger and I had to go to the emergency room to get stitches. So there's $4,000 right there. At that time, I had enough money saved up, and even quitting my job was so hard. I loved my job. Getting ready, putting on a cute outfit, and like going to work. I just loved it. And I was buying a lot of clothes at the time in order to fulfill my YouTube side of things, because I wanted to keep showing new and fresh clothes, that I didn't even have enough money for a subway card. I didn't have enough money to like take an Uber, a cab. I had to ride my bike to work every day, whether it be 15 degrees or 100 degrees. I was riding my bike every single day to work in order to have enough money to make my YouTube work and to keep things fresh and interesting and to buy camera equipment. So I sacrificed a lot of things in order to make it work, and I gave up a lot of things. But yeah, so that's kind of my story. And then I quit my job, and it was the weirdest thing. For the first month, I didn't know what to do. I honestly walked around my apartment thinking that I was going to be in trouble for not being at work. It was the weirdest feeling I've ever had of not going to work, because I've always had a boss. I've always gone to a physical job. And here I am working from home now, and I'm like, what? I wasted like a month and a half just doing circles around my apartment and like writing random things down. Then I finally got it together, and I think I quit my job. Actually, I think like a year and a half ago, this time, like a year and a half, I've been doing this full time. I do miss every now and then having like work friends and, you know, going out after work and going to dinner, but I can't say that I would go back to the way it was. I'm very happy with where I'm at, and it was the best decision I ever made. And that's my story. I'm tired of talking, but I am gonna do a Q&A. I'm gonna take a quick water break, breakfast break, and I will let my camera cool down because it's telling me right now that it's about to explode. And I'll see you guys in a little bit for the Q&A. There's some really good questions, and like I said in the intro, I actually can't believe I'm gonna answer some of these. So you don't want to miss the Q&A. Oh, I got so many great questions. I actually went through last night and circled all the ones to answer. It was really hard choosing and breaking it down. And a lot of these questions I actually answered in my career story, and a lot of the questions were repeat questions. So I'll go ahead and get started. And just a quick note, I am gonna be very honest in my answers. And, you know, I don't say things to be harsh, and I hope I don't come across as being mean or rude. I just want to give you an honest answer, because that is the only thing that's going to help you grow, is an honest answer. I don't want to sugarcoat anything. I don't want to blow smoke up your ass and tell you something that might not be true. So just a quick little note. So this first question is from my girl Ian. Hi Ian. It says, how and when did you get your agent and know it was the right choice? Did she approach you? So yeah, once you start getting a larger following, you will have agencies approach you. And I knew it was the right time because I was getting a bit overwhelmed with brand deals that were coming through. I didn't know how to calculate my rate. I didn't know how to read a contract properly. I didn't know what I was signing half the time, because they want deliverables that don't make sense sometimes. And it's really good to have that middleman in order to help keep things organized for you and make sure that you're not getting screwed over. I got contacted by a ton of agencies before I landed on Caroline. The problem with the other agencies was they were trying to impress me by saying, oh yeah, we run this agency and we represent hundreds of talent, like we're experienced. And I don't want to be one of hundreds. And then I was reached out to by my agency now, and they only represented a handful of people at the time. And that appealed to me more because then I knew I was going to get the attention that I deserved and the attention that I needed. And I wouldn't just be, you know, a small fish in a big pond. I was going to be someone that they would know my face, they would know my name, and they would really look out for my well-being. And just from talking to her, I clicked with her from the beginning because I felt that she was very genuine, and I just liked her a lot, and we just connected, and I just knew in my heart that she was the right person for me. When are you starting your podcast? From Misty. So I talked to the Life by Her girls about starting a podcast, Ryan and I, and it's definitely something we want to do. Maybe early next year or late this year. We have some projects that we're doing right now, but we do want to get a podcast started soon. What is one regret that you have, whether it be not starting soon enough, etc.? It's so funny that you asked that because one of my main regrets is not starting sooner. I feel like if you're out there and if you really want to start a YouTube channel or you really want to start blogging, it's your passion, you want to do it, start now. Don't wait. Never is the right time. There's never going to be a right time. Your blog is going to be perfect enough. Your Instagram feed is going to be perfect enough. Your ideas aren't going to be perfect enough ever. Start now. Take my advice. Just do it. As an immigrant, do you think I have a shot at being a fashion and lifestyle blogger? I think anybody has a shot at being anything they want to be. Especially a fashion and lifestyle blogger, I feel like there's a niche out there for you. Don't think just because you are X, Y, and Z that you can't do something. You ask that because actually Gary Vee says that immigrants have a better shot at being successful because they have a harder work ethic than anybody. So fun fact from Gary Vaynerchuk. How can you increase engagement on photos and videos? A good way to increase your engagement is to ask questions and don't ask questions just to get engagement. Ask questions because you genuinely want to know from your followers. If you want to know where they're from, if you want to know like what they do for a living, I think it's good to get to know your followers in that way, and it's also a good way to get engagement. So you kind of hit two birds with one stone with that. How quick did it take Ryan and other family members to be so supportive of your career path? Ryan and I kind of started together. So it was mostly his idea. It was his kind of thought process that started it. But our family members supported us from the beginning. Honestly, I don't think either one of them really knew what we were getting into. I don't think any of our family knew what was going on. So they thought it was cool. How to grow Instagram and make fashion brands collaborate with you. So you don't really want to make fashion brands collaborate with you. They're the ones in charge, not you. If you want to collaborate with a fashion brand, you have to give them something they can't resist. You need to figure out a way that you can help them. So you need to consistently build your brand on whatever platform you choose, and you need to make these brands want to collaborate with you. Make it something that they can't resist. If you have great branding and you have great feedback and you have great engagement, they will want to collaborate with you. But you have to put in the work first in order to build up yourself to be trustworthy to your viewers. Once you get used to speaking in front of the camera and acting so normal, I feel so awkward. I hear you. The only thing I can tell you with that is practice. Is just keep doing it and it will just be normal to you. I know it's weird. Didn't have Ryan helping film you. Do you think it would have been harder for you to get started? Yes and no. I feel like I don't know that it would be harder, but it would be a little bit more work. I wouldn't say harder, just more steps, because you can definitely find filmmakers and photographers who are willing to trade. Meaning you can schedule with them on the weekends. If you guys are both available, they film you, you let them have the rights to the video so they can show their work to other people. What is your advice to someone who studied for years but now hates their job? I definitely don't think that anybody should be in a job that they hate. If it's something that you're just doing in the meantime to make ends meet, sometimes we have to do what we don't want to do in order to accomplish something that we want to do. So if this is a job that you hate and you're working towards a bigger goal, then you just have to stick it out. We've all been in a job we don't love, and unfortunately, you have to pay the bills and it's the only thing that's available, then you have to take it. But if you are just stuck in a career that you hate, try researching different careers and really find out where you want to go. And you only live once, so don't be stuck in a career that you absolutely hate. It's never too late to start over. It's gonna take work. It will take a lot of work, but you can do it. You can switch careers. It is possible. You are not stuck anywhere. Any tips for being successful in the fashion industry? Go above and beyond. That's kind of what I did when I started and I wanted to be in visual merchandising. I was working those 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. days without getting paid for it. You have to work harder than everybody else. You have to be in earlier. You have to stay later. You have to show initiative. Don't be afraid to bring creative ideas to the table, even if they sound stupid in your head and even if you get turned down. Keep going, keep coming up with ideas, and show the people that are above you that you are worthy of a position that you absolutely deserve. We balance work and personal life and lookbooks when they all somewhat correlate. I feel like I don't really have a personal life. I kind of traded my personal life in when I decided to start multiple projects, multiple businesses, do my YouTube channel, have employees, but that's just a price that I'm willing to pay. At the moment, I'm fine with it. But it's all about scheduling yourself, and this did take me a while to figure out. At first, I would just think in my head, okay, today I need to do da da da, and it doesn't work like that. You have to write things down, you have to stay on a schedule. Your Google Calendar is your best friend, and you have to follow it 100%. You share what percent of your earnings is coming from each source: LBH, YouTube, sponsorship, others. So yeah, I'm not going to share numbers because they're different every single month, but I will share what brings in the most to the least. It's probably 60% sponsorships, 20% magazine, and I think a lot of people are so wrong when it comes to the magazine, because we do charge for the magazine. It is $5 a month, or you can pay for the year, or you can pay for 6 months. But we don't see any of that money, really. A lot of people are like, okay, they always try to do the math. They're always like, okay, if you have this many thousand people paying $5 a month, no. The reason that we charge for the magazine is because we have to pay to run the magazine, and the more people that get the magazine, the more we have to pay. Almost come even on the month every magazine. Sometimes we're negative, sometimes we're positive, but mostly it's like a wash for the magazine. I think people are very confused when it comes to that. And then after that, I would say it's merchandise like sunglasses and t-shirts, and then YouTube is dead last. YouTube doesn't pay diddly squat unless you're getting millions and millions and millions of views for each video. Then it's not likely that you can make a living on a YouTube salary. Any tips on building a personal brand? Yeah, I think my biggest tip for building a personal brand is do exactly that. Make it a personal brand. Don't see somebody else's brand idea and brand concept and do that your way. Make your own personal brand, and that is the way you can stand out. That is a way that you get your own unique followers and your own unique subscribers. Don't try to copy somebody else's brand and what they already have going. That is my one and only tip for building a personal brand. How do you make sure that your content is modern, engaging, and a little bit unique? This is all about testing, trial and error. I am always in trial and error phase, and sometimes I'll have this great idea for a new series and it totally flops. And we spent so much work on it, so much time, and it just flops. And then the other way will happen. We'll create a new series and people love it and it takes off, and then we keep doing it until people get tired of it, and then you have to try something new. So it's all about trying new things. That's working for other people might not work for you, and vice versa. It's just trial and error, and I'm gonna be honest, there are more errors than there are successes, but you just have to keep trying things and always be thinking of new fresh ideas, keeping on your toes, and asking your subscribers what they want to see and giving them what they want to see. How are you able to work from home and get your work done without getting distracted? So I told you guys earlier that when I started working from home, I literally walked in circles for the first month and a half, being like, what the hell am I doing? I don't know what to do. I guess I'll just eat snacks. But now I have a very strict schedule for myself that's pretty much become my routine. I treat it like an office job. I get up, I go to the gym, I shower, I get fully ready, I put on a cute outfit, and I get my workday done. And I'm usually working until like 7, and then I'll eat dinner, and then I'll get back to work and finish up around like 8, 9, sometimes like 10 or 11. So I treat it like an office job. I treat it like someone's there watching me, because you're only hurting yourself. I learned that quickly. If you're slacking, the only person you're hurting is you. So you really have to step up and be your own boss. You search, this is a good question for you, Ryan. How do you search for what type of seminars we attend and all the things that we go to?
I mean, if you, whatever niche you're in, like get on industry leaders, newsletters.
Industry leaders?
Yeah, like look for the industry leaders in your industry and get on their newsletters, listen to podcasts in that industry, and they'll talk about what are the best.
Okay, cool.
Stuff.
How did you maintain a positive attitude and sense of direction in those early hustling days? In the early hustling days, I had to remain positive because I didn't have a choice. If I was negative and if I got in a bad mood, again, only hurting myself, nobody else. If I just refused to do it because I was in a bad mood, only hurting myself, only setting myself back. So you really, in the early hustling days, I didn't have a choice. I had a goal in mind and I wasn't going to stop until I reached what I wanted, and it required discipline and it required doing things that I didn't want to do, but I did it anyways. Fashion industry is glamorous as it's made out to be. No, 100% definitely not. I mean, I guess it just depends on the field that you're in, but you know, visual merchandising, you're up at 5 a.m., no makeup, sweatpants, wearing a tool belt, you know. If you were like an editor, if you were, you know, something like that, I'm sure that's a little bit more glamorous, but there's a lot of fields in the fashion industry that are not glamorous at all. How do you manage and recruit your team? Who has what job? And is it hard to work with your boyfriend? So how do I manage and recruit my team? We recruit our team through our, first and foremost, our Life by Her Facebook group. We always make sure that we ask them before anything. And some things that we look for in a team member is we don't want anybody who's aspiring to be a blogger or aspiring to create their own personal brand, because it just conflicts and it just doesn't work out. I've heard horror stories about stuff like this and I'm just not interested in that. You know, I want somebody who wants to excel in what we're looking for, and not someone who is just out to be a blogger. Everyone does is, Jenna is senior editor, so she co-creates the magazine with me. Her and I do the magazine each month. Jade pretty much assists Jenna with anything she needs on Photoshop, any collages that she needs. Jade is also in charge of getting the giveaways together and ready to go, and then Blade edits our videos. And then it's Ryan and I. And then Misty, who is a part of the Life by Her group, she does a few things in the magazine for me. She controls a lot of things in the Facebook group. She's our moderator. So she does a really good job. And then my friend Sam, who lives in Austin, she does a lot of stuff with lifebyher.co that is coming soon. So she'll be working with us a little bit more. And a girl also from the Life by Her group, Christina, she does copyright for the magazine. Oh, is it hard working with your boyfriend? No, we've learned a lot since working together. It used to be hard, and we have such an open and honest relationship, and we communicate really well, and this took a long time to perfect, and it's still not perfect, but we're at a point where we work so well together, and we keep very professional during the workday. We might scream at each other when everybody leaves, but during the workday, we treat each other like we are coworkers, and we are in a professional environment, except he grabs my butt sometimes. So he would probably be fired for that. How much of your business profit should go into business versus saving versus personal income? I think it just really depends on how much you're making and how much your living expenses are. I will say though, when you're starting a business, you should pay yourself what it costs to live. You know, meaning rent, groceries, bills. Put a lot into savings and put as much as you can back into the business, because that's where you're going to see your return on investment. Like, the more you invest into your business, the more you will get back out of it. I know it's hard for a while, not paying yourself anything, and you know, you're making money and it's great, but you do what you want. I'm just giving you my advice of like, don't spend money that you don't have. You have to take account taxes, employees if you have them, emergencies like smashing the finger, emergency room visits. So I would get a financial advisor. That's Ryan and I have a financial advisor, and it does cost money, but I feel like in the end it saves you money because it's so helpful. Having someone tell you where to put your money, how much, when, where, yada, yada, yada. What do you do when people are trying to bring you down and it hinders your mood? That's a good question. I think a lot of people who are who want to get a bigger social following, they don't always understand the negative that comes with it, and it is a lot of hate. Even if you don't deserve it, even if you don't do anything wrong, people are just living to hate you, and that's something that you just have to get used to. And it took me a few months to just grow really thick skin, and I got past the hump, and I do have really thick skin, and I've always kind of had thick skin because I wasn't babied growing up. You know, I was kind of the person that, like, if I got in trouble in class, my mom would be like, okay, then you like send her to the principal, do what you need to do. I wasn't coddled or babied, so I kind of had thick skin my whole life. I was bullied throughout college. I think that helped as well. Girls were so mean to me in college. And I would go home and like cry every day. So starting my YouTube channel and getting these negative comments, I was like, oh, here we are again. You know, and they hurt. And every now and then I'll get one one comment that'll just kind of sting just a little bit really is like building a muscle. It's building up that thick skin, and it will happen. Although I say that, I can't really speak for everybody, but it happened for me, and I think, unfortunately, the more hate you get, the more you're just numb to it. And I really do think it's important to take into account all the people that love you and all of the positive comments you get. Unfortunately, there are bullies out there are mean girls out there, mean guys out there, who it just like makes their day to just tear somebody else down. But you know what? In the end, you just have to remember that you're winning, you win. You know, a person who's mean, they're a loser. That is such a loser thing to do. So just remember that. Was there a point where you wanted to quit YouTube and the magazine? Yes. I told you guys in my past story, there were like 3 times that I was like, I'm done, I can't do this. I cannot take this schedule anymore, but just gotta get through those humps. How long before the magazine was profitable? I think I told you guys earlier too that the magazine is not so profitable. A lot of it goes back into the employees, back into to pay to have the magazine running. So it's really not. A lot of people, they message me and they're like, oh, I want to start my own magazine so I can, you know, make a living, and how do I do that? I need your advice. And I'm like, just stop right there. If you're doing this to make money, don't do it. Your business start from an idea or a hobby? Kind of both. I started my YouTube channel as a hobby, and I started Life by Her as a hobby. Both grew into a business. Yeah, mostly a hobby though. How do you stay motivated when you work, and when is a good time to take a break? I think it really just depends on you. You know, there are some projects that are going to make your brain more tired than others. And I think you need to take a break whenever you feel like you need to take a break. Working through, when you have other things on your mind and you're trying to work, it's not gonna work. You need to figure it out, figure out what's bothering you, take a break, go get some water. Don't take like a 2-day break, like take a 15-minute break. That usually works, and get back to it. Clear your mind. Meditating is great. For those of you guys who are business owners, Ryan meditates every morning. I've tried it a couple of times. I love it. Try meditating. Zoe Austin, hi Zoe. She said, what is the best and most challenging part of working with your partner? The best part is we get to hang out all day, and we get to collaborate together and work together. And Ryan is, you know, we have one of those relationships where we're each other's best friend. He's my best friend. I tell him everything. He tells me everything. We are transparent about everything. One of the negatives is that, you know, we have to get over humps that most couples don't. Since we do work together and we work in our home together, a lot of our conversation revolves around work. And so it's taking that extra step in order to be like, okay, let's go to the movies, or let's just like not talk about work for 2 hours. But it's hard because we both love talking about work because we love what we do. So it's kind of finding that work relationship balance that can be a little bit challenging. Importance of camera equipment when starting your business, and what do you use? I don't think having the best equipment is all that in a bag of chips. I think if you have iMovie and if you have an iPhone, you are good to go. In what ways do you invest back into your business, and what is worth investing in? I invest back into my business with equipment. The most important thing I have invested back into my business is help. Jenna, Blade, I mean, that is the biggest thing, is not trying to take everything on yourself, because it's not smart. You know, if you can hire somebody to do it for you, do it. So you can focus on more important things that are gonna help you grow. That is the best thing you can invest on. And I had the hardest time giving up power. I had the hardest time hiring Jenna, because I was like, I don't want to give up control of anything. I want to do everything. I don't trust anybody else. Best decision I ever made in my whole entire life. Talk about self-discipline and how you created a habit of waking up early. It sucks so bad for the first week waking up early. It sucks. You literally have to like put your phone on the other side of the room so you get up. But once you hit that week mark, your body starts waking up on its own, and then you start getting super tired around 10 o'clock and just give in, just go to bed, and you will wake up early. It's just kind of like anything, any routine you have, you just have to get into it, and your body will just start being like, okay, this is my life now, this is what I have to do. Does YouTube alone generate a lot of money as a career? For me, no, it doesn't. You started your YouTube channel, weren't you afraid to be ridiculous or not interest people? Yes. I'm still afraid that I'm ridiculous. It's like haunts me every day. Like, am I a moron? I don't know. Do you have any suggestions on how I can download Final Cut Pro without paying a ton of money? Yeah, Ryan and I downloaded it illegally the first time because we couldn't afford it when we first started. So we like bootlegged it. Bootlegged it? Yeah, we downloaded it illegally and it worked. I just recently bought it because it was starting to like get weird on me. So I was like, I don't want a chance losing all my stuff. So I just bought Final Cut Pro, but I used it for like a year and a half just from like downloading it illegally. Oops, I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but. How do you find balance on which part of your life to share and which to keep private? I do keep a lot of my life private. There are a lot of things that I keep private, and it's just a feeling that I have. You know, if I feel that I'm not ready to share it, or if I just don't want to share it, I don't. I know a lot of YouTubers, they'll say like, oh, I'm going through something right now, but I just can't tell you. I don't do that. I don't play that game. If there's something that I want to keep private, I just keep it private. I don't try to do a teaser, or I don't try to do a thumbnail. You know, I just keep it private. And you will have never known that I was keeping it private because I will not even mention it. But yeah, there are family things, there are friend things, there are things going on every now and then that, you know, I either don't feel would interest you or be relevant to you or make you gain anything with my content. I always try to give something that will help you learn and gain, and sometimes things happen and they're just boring. Or how long were you posting videos with no responses and no views? A long time. I was literally talking to no one my first like 2 months of YouTube. I would get like maybe 2 comments, maybe like 10 views. So don't get discouraged if you start your channel and like you're basically just talking to yourself for the first 2 months. Don't think you're crazy. YouTube and Life by Hair, are there any other businesses you and Ryan, you or Ryan do? So Ryan has his own business, and Ryan has owned his own business since I met him. And he still runs it. He still runs it from the apartment. That's also why we don't see each other a lot during the day, because he's usually on a call with his client or going to a meeting with his client. Have you always been an early bird? No. I used to could sleep until 1 o'clock in the afternoon if you let me. I would just sleep throughout the day if no one woke me up. How do you stay humble with all of your success? See, I see myself and I don't see all of this success. I see someone who is still trying to like earn her way. So I don't know, maybe that's it. Maybe that's like very humbling, is because I know at any moment, you know, I always feel like something could happen and like I would just lose my channel or lose following or lose this or lose sponsorships. Like I don't see myself as like hitting that being successful yet. I don't know, I think I'm just really hard on myself, but that's just kind of me being like honest and saying the first thing that comes to my mind. I don't know, I feel like it's never good to be too big for your britches, never good to think that you're better than you actually are. I think you need to stay grounded and stay humble, and that's how you continue to grow. Just always important lesson. I will start studying fashion, but not a lot of people support me. How should I handle this? You thank the people that do support you. Give them lots of love. Do you have investors? No, I do not have investors. It's just me. I forgot my water. I just talked for so long. This video is gonna be like 3 hours long, but I did want to mention something really quickly, and this really concerns me and it worries me, and I just need to set the record straight right now. I'm getting these questions, right? And these are just a few that I circled. I'm getting a lot of questions like, how do I make money? How do I get enough money to quit my job? How do I start blogging to where I can make money? And let me just tell you right now, if you are starting a YouTube channel or if you are starting a blog just to quit your job and to make a lot of money, it will not happen for you. I'm just being completely honest. It will not happen for you because you don't have the passion, and no one will follow someone who is not passionate, and they will be able to see through you like that. You want to start, you start for the right reasons. You start because you love it. You start because you probably won't make a penny your first year of doing it. I mean, it's a lot of work, and I don't think people understand that, and they are set up for failure when they start because they think they're going to start making money right off the bat, and all they can think about is money. And all they can think about is just getting more subscribers and more followers. Like, be appreciative for the followers that you have and show them appreciation. I'm just telling, like, I cannot stress this enough. I see it happen all the time. People are so ready to just quit their jobs, and they're so money hungry. I started my blog and my YouTube channel. I wasn't thinking about money at all. I was thinking that I was just gonna have a YouTube channel for the rest of my life while I had a job. You know, I think something like this, to where it just gets so overwhelming that you have to quit your job, it just kind of falls in your lap, and you just know. If you're just out there for the money and so you don't have to go to a 9-to-5 job every day, it's not going to happen for you. And it's unfortunate that I see these questions all the time, and I wish I could respond personally to all of them and just be like, it's not gonna work for you, like, don't even waste your time. I'm just being honest, and I hope that you hear me out, and I hope you're doing this for the right reason. Otherwise, it's just a waste of your time, and it makes the industry just look bad as a whole, because, you know, you don't want to put a bad taste in somebody's mouth, because then they distrust all of us. Then every YouTuber, every blogger they see, they distrust, because they think everyone's just out for the money. And unfortunately, like, that's what this industry is becoming a little bit. And just don't do it. Don't ruin it for everybody just because you want to quit your 9-to-5 job. Sorry, I told you I was going to be honest. I'm sorry. I love you. I love you. I love you. And another thing I wanted to do, I circled some more questions, and it's like, best way to get something done you don't want to do, best way to get the courage to vlog in public. And I just kind of have like a general answer for this, and it is just to do it. Like, you're never gonna actually get the courage to vlog in public. Like, my biggest advice to you is to make yourself uncomfortable. You have to be uncomfortable in order to be successful. Like, you just do. I mean, being uncomfortable is the worst thing ever, but it's the best for your growth. Like, how do I get the courage to start my channel? How do I get the courage to post my first YouTube channel or vlog in public? Be uncomfortable. Get so uncomfortable and do it, please. Like, I'm just begging you right now, just do it. Otherwise, you'll never ever do it. And I would hate for you to wake up 5 years from now and be like, ugh, what if I had just done it? So that's my advice to you, to all of you guys who ask me questions like that, and I know what it's like to be in your shoes and be scared to death to post something, but just do it. You have my support. I support you. I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna go drink a gallon of water, but thank you so much to the Art Institutes for sponsoring this video. This is something that I've wanted to sit down and film for a long time, and this was a great sponsorship, a great collaboration. I loved it, so thank you guys. Don't forget, the link will be below if you want to go check it out, and I will see you guys in my next video. Oh, and I'll be available in the comment section. I'm gonna really monitor this video closely, because those of you guys who ask questions, I want to make sure I get it answered, because I don't want to leave you guys hanging with this, because I know I just gave you so much information, and if you stuck it out to the end, let's do like the what emoji should we do if you stuck this video out until the end? Maybe like the dead, like the X over their eyes.
Over there.
Yeah. All right, love you guys. Bye.